Hello and welcome to the MTD Income Tax Demystified session by the Zoho Books team. My name is Reshma and I handle the partnerships for Zoho Books in UK and Europe region. And today we have the wonderful Della Hudson with us here. Della here is an accountant. She's a speaker. She's an author of 3 books and she's also a business coach. And we've had the wonderful opportunity to do a couple of roadshows with her in the UK about the MTD ITSA topic, which is a super hot topic right now. A lot of businesses in the UK are wanting to know all about MTD. They are either already registered themselves with the MTD program, or they are wondering whether they should do it right now. So today, we will have Della walk us through what MTD is all about. Are you qualified to join the MTD pilot program? Should you do it right now or wait for it? A whole bunch of questions to be demystified. Just a quick housekeeping rules. On your screen, you would probably see a toolbar. You have the chat box and you also have a question answer. Throughout the session, if you have any questions, feel free to put them across in the Q&A panel. At the end of the session, we will have all of these answered by Della. If you are not able to hear us fine, or if you have some internet connectivity issue, just drop us a message in the chat box and we will try to get them addressed as well. With that, we will pass it on to Della to let's start the topic on MTD itself.
Thanks, Reshma, and it's lovely to be working with you and the Zoho Books team again. So I'm Della Hudson. I think we've done all the introduction now, so I should go straight into everything you need to know about MTD for income tax, or as much as I can cram into this short period. So if I don't cover it in my talk, please do post questions in the Q&A. I'll probably answer them at the end unless it's something that's important to the understanding before we go further. I'll start by sharing my screen. Here we go. So MTD for income tax, making tax digital, it's been a big part of what HMRC are doing. The idea is to bring businesses into the 21st century and make use of all the technology to get you better information and things like that. So if you're a sole trader or a landlord, what do you need to do? Well, first, you need to understand the requirements. Are you affected? And when does that start? Because it's a staggered start. Then you need to choose software that will help you. It'll do the bulk of the work for you. It won't do all of it though. Lovely as software is, it still needs a bit of a human touch as well. You need to make a note of the deadlines that apply to you, because there are lots of them. We are going for quarterly returns, not just once a year. So it's a lot more to think about. What you need to start now. I've been doing these talks since, I think my first one was 2017, but the government kept postponing MTD and it's actually here. It's not going to move. I know we've got the budget being announced today. So we're going to have a little look at what we need to do now and get moving on. And then we have the final go live date, which will, as I say, as a staggered start, would be different for everybody. So understanding the requirements. Are you affected and when? So first of all, what is MTD? Well, it's a combination of digital record keeping, and we can do that now. Most people are more tech savvy than they were 10, 20 years ago. Software is more accessible, and we all have a phone, and you can do a lot of the work you need to do from your phone if you're a small business. So out and about on site, you can be able to do that without having to do the slog once a year of getting your tax return ready, which is just as well because we have to make quarterly submissions. So once a quarter, and it's the same quarter for everybody. So it's June, September, December, and March, and you have a month and 7 days to get that done, the same way as you do if you're VAT registered. It'll be the same deadlines, but it is those quarters. You don't get to choose your quarter end the way you do with VAT. So Why are we going down this MTD route? What's the whole point? Well, from HMRC's point of view, it's closing the tax gap. So we can argue about the way they calculate the tax gap. That's the gap between what they should be collecting and what's actually collected. So we can argue about the calculation, but there's definitely a gap. And so they want to close that down. So with quarterly submissions, that will give HMRC and the government more visibility. It helps them to plan. They know what money is going to come in when, and they can therefore plan the spending sooner. With more frequent updates, they have that live information. And they believe with quarterly submissions, there will be reduced errors because people won't forget to declare their income. It'll be fresh in their minds. It's possible because software is available now, and we have a more tech-savvy population. Even my mother is there on the internet. I keep waiting for the day she's going to crash the whole world. But those AWS servers, I'm sure my mother was something to do with that. So why is it better for businesses? Yeah, we have to do it, but there are advantages for us as well as business owners. I own three businesses as well as my accountancy practice. So I want to know what's in it for me. It gives us more visibility about our businesses. We're not trying to guess. We've got actual information. We can see what's really going on. With up-to-date management information, we can make good decisions, better decisions. I'd like to say they're the best decisions, but there's still a human making that final decision. Yes, it will reduce errors, but it will mean you don't forget those expenses. So all those receipts that get lost before the end of the year, you've got them. You can get them uploaded straight away. Those receipts that fade on the dashboard of your van, you know, the heat generated ones, that whoever came up with that, they just fade in the sunlight. And you think we don't have much sunlight in the UK, but it's enough to fade those receipts if they're not tracked straight away. It also helps you to estimate the amount of tax that you need to be saving. So you don't get to the end of the year and have that sudden horrible shock when you realize that you've spent the money that should have been saved for your taxes. And there are also other benefits from using technology, which I'm going to go into as well. It will be different for everybody, but there are lots of other benefits, things that you can add on with the technology. So who's affected? Basically, anybody with gross income over £20,000 will be affected, but there's a staggered start. So those who are affected from the 6th of April next year, if your gross income, and now this is income, it's not your profit, it's the income. So all the money that you receive from your customers, that's over £50,000, then you are going live from the 6th of April. And how do they calculate that £50,000? Well, it's based on the tax returns that you've just submitted for 24-25. You may not have submitted it yet. You do have until the 31st of January, and I'm going to waggle my finger and tell you, you need to get on and get them submitted. Because if you're lagging this far behind now, you are really going to struggle with MTD next year, where you have, instead of having 10 months to submit a tax return, you've got a month and 7 days to make your quarterly submissions. So you need to be on top of your bookkeeping. We're looking at 5 minutes a day to stay on top of everything. It depends on the size of your business, of course, but for the little ones, 5 minutes a day. You can do that. You get in at the end of the day, you get your cup of tea or a glass of wine. I recommend tea if you're trying to handle numbers, and then you can just do your bookkeeping there while you unwind, because bookkeeping can be quite relaxing with the right tools. So we've got your 2025 tax return, and there are 3 parts of it. We are looking at the sole trade income, we're looking at the property income, and then it's also any foreign trade or property income as well. So don't forget, if you've got a furnished holiday let overseas, that is part of it that needs to be taken into account. And that might be actually a little bit harder to deal with quarterly, but we need to do our best. So that's the people over £50,000 income are going in straight away. You can opt to go in sooner. You can go on to the beta, which is running now. We've got clients on that. And in fact, anybody can opt to go on that now. But I suggest what you do is, even if you don't go live into it, you act as if you are. So you get your software, you keep it up to date, and you make sure everything's up to date once a quarter, so that when you do go live, you're able to do that. So if your income is under £50,000, you've got a little bit longer to get used to it. Like I say, I really recommend practicing now. And so 12 months later, those with income over £30,000, which will be based on their 2026 tax returns. And the final tranche for now is those with gross income over £20,000, which will be based on their 2027 tax returns. Whether we like it or not, you have to do it. I'm not here to suggest that you can avoid it. There are people talking about, oh, I can become a partnership or a limited company and get around it that way. You could, but that's just more hassle to avoid this hassle. So stick with what you know and love as a sole trader or a landlord, and it's much more familiar, and to avoid the extra hassle of the partnership legislation and the limited company legal responsibilities and so on. So I wouldn't try to get around that unless you're thinking of going that way anyway, in which case there's a non-tax benefit to do it. So what do you need to do? Well, although it's becoming mandatory, you actually need to sign up. This is because HMRC are finally updating their legacy systems. So you currently log into an old self-assessment system. You need to sign up and have a new login to the new self-assessment system, which is the same one that you use for MTD VAT, if any of you are registered for that. You can choose to go live now or as part of the beta, which is good. If you do that, you get all sorts of advantages. So HMRC aren't here to beat you with a stick. It might feel like it sometimes, but they're not. They are being very positive, very proactive with this. They are trying to help people on board. It's back how HMRC was years ago when I started working in accountancy. They seem to be working with businesses to get things done. So they are being very positive about it. So if you go on to the beta, you get that soft landing approach. You also get access to a separate helpline. So you don't have to wait 40, 50 minutes, an hour to get through to somebody to support you. You have access to a specific MTD helpline. So you get help from somebody sooner. So that in itself, I think, is probably worth the extra hassle of going in earlier. And it also means that HMRC will have experience in whatever problems you're encountering. They'll be able to help more businesses with, because the onus is on them to get ready for MTD as well. So let's help them get ready so it's easy for other small businesses. So maintaining digital records. I see somebody said they keep a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is digital record. And so you could use bridging software with that. And I've seen the subcontractor doesn't want to use other software. They have to comply as long as they are compliant. If they're not compliant, well, that's an issue for the courts and lots of penalties to be paid. But as long as they're compliant, that is absolutely fine. So you can have a spreadsheet with bridging software, and I'm going to look at the pros and cons of software and spreadsheets. You need to keep those up to date each quarter. You need to make quarterly updates using software. So that can be from your core software, or it can be with this bridging software. They are really simple. They are 2 numbers. There's income and expenses, 2 numbers. So it's not a full tax return submission, and it's not all your interest and dividends and whatever other bits and pieces you might have in your employment. It's only the figures from your self-employment and your landlord rental income. The due dates for your diary, mark them in now: the 7th of August, the 7th of November, 7th of February, and the 7th of May. Then, at the end of the year, you fill in your whole tax return, which must be filed using software. No more doing it through HMRC's tools. You need to use some sort of software for that year-end tax return. And that's the whole shebang. So it's a little bit more detail on your expenses, and it's including all the other bits in the year. And this is the chance you can make adjustments to those quarterly submissions at this point. So it's an adjustment period. Then that is the usual due date of the 31st of January. Now, actually, because you've got everything all up to date, you can get it in long before then. I suspect at some point HMRC will start to pull that forward for that very reason. But for now, they're not even mentioning changing the 31st of January. Because, of course, they have all sorts of other bits and pieces that need to be added on to your self-employed income. So choosing software. Spreadsheets or software. So spreadsheets is basic functionality. It's what people are used to. It's nice and simple. It's comfortable. It's like that old pair of slippers. They're so lovely, but eventually they start to fall apart. So let's look at something that's actually going to replace it that will be better for us. Specialist accounting software. It's very task specific. These days, you can just link it to your bank account. Now, legally, you don't have to have a separate bank account for your business, but I would recommend it. It makes it a lot easier for you to deal with. It's also, if you are subject to an HMRC inquiry, which on average you will get once every 6 years, some industries are higher risk, construction, for example, or anybody dealing with a whole lot of cash in this sort of cashless era. Cash is excellent for money laundering, and that's why you will be subject to more checks than if you are using card payments and online payments. So you can connect your bank account. That means if HMRC do come and investigate, they only look at your business bank account unless they've got reason to look elsewhere. So they're not rummaging through your personal bank account. It's a bit like, I would say, it's a bit like HMRC coming and rummaging through your underwear drawer. It's probably all clean and lovely, but still, you don't really want them rummaging through it. Thank you very much. So we've got a separate bank account. That can just be a spare personal bank account. It doesn't need to be a business bank account. Don't tell the banks that. They may start to notice if you've got big money going through, but for little things, just set yourself up a spare bank account if you don't have one already, and use that just for your business. All the income comes in there, the outgoings through there. It helps you to track your business profitability if you don't already. Connect that to your software, and the statements come into your software, and you just get to tell it what sort of expense it is. Or do you? Because actually with AI and technology these days, the software makes a pretty good guess at what it is. It has a fair idea of what's stationery and what's entertaining and travel and things like that. So quite often you connect your bank account, it appears in your software, and all you have to do is confirm that yes, it is that type of expense. You can just take a photograph from your phone and upload it. So what I would say, if you've bought a travel ticket, then you sit on the train, you take a photograph of that, upload it, and then when you get home that evening, you can deal with it. If you're out and about and you've bought yourself your lunch, while you're eating it, waiting for your tea to cool, or coffee, there's an option on coffee as well, then take a photograph, upload it, deal with it later. So it's all captured, and it doesn't matter if you lose that bit of paper. Digital record keeping includes digital photographs that feed into your software. And then if you get that HMRC investigation, you can go, look, it was this. You've got your evidence there on your app, your software. And we've got all sorts of advanced features on the software. It depends what you go for, that you can connect a card machine or card machine functionality and get paid before you leave site. So talk about a plumber, they get called out to site and they do whatever it is they do. And you have a very happy customer because their tap stopped dripping or their loo stopped overflowing or whatever the crisis was. They're very happy. You press a button, generate the invoice, they give you the card, and you take the payment there and then. And it does the bookkeeping for you. So you've got your bookkeeping done and you've got your payment received before you leave site. So there's no getting to the end of the month when you're absolutely exhausted and you have to sit there and raise those invoices. So if you're, for instance, you're a cleaning company, you might have a regular thing that you do for your clients, and then they ask you, oh, can you just do this? Well, you hit, can you just? And they're the bits that we miss, aren't they? You forget that you've just done this extra bit, but you can raise that invoice straight away and just add it to their bill, whether you send that bill out at the end of the month or each week when you've finished the clean, things like that. So we're getting that money in sooner. If you have a shop, then you can connect it to your till. You'll have seen, if you go into various shops and restaurants now, quite often they don't have the big heavy till. They have those in the Science Museum. I was there. It's in the museum now, those old tills that you used to see in shops. Now it runs off an iPad or a tablet, which is used to take the order, to raise the receipt, and to take the payment as well. So it all feeds directly into the bookkeeping. It is all there. It saves you a lot of time, saves you a lot of hassle. I love numbers. Most people don't for some reason. And the software will handle all of that for you, linking it all together. So the benefits to the business of MTD and software. Well, these days, most software is based in the cloud, so you can have multiple users, and therefore you get to decide who does what in your organization. So you can be doing the data input when you're out there on site, you can raise your invoices, and then your bookkeeper or your accountant can log in and do other bits. We've got data entry apps. I've talked about the uploading your receipts from your phone. We've got things like connecting your tills, optical character recognition, OCR apps will do that. They can read the text on your receipts, and they can actually do a pretty good job of reading handwritten invoices as well, if people are still giving you handwritten receipts. That really amazes me. I've yet to see if they can read my handwriting. It's not as bad as a doctor's handwriting, but mine isn't great because I do everything online these days. Phone apps. You can upload your receipts, you can do your invoices, you can collect payment. You can set reminders. So either you get paid faster because you're taking the payment there and then, or you can set automated invoices. So we'll talk about that. The cleaning company again, where you have regular jobs, you can set automated weekly invoices to go, and they go out, and then you can automate the chasing as well. So you the They usually come with standard wording. You get to tweak the reminder emails. So my first one is something, oh, we're a small business and it's really great when people pay us on time. And then they get harsher and harsher as we go. And then at some point, obviously, you have to pick up the phone and go into a proper debt collection process. But it's those people who've just not quite got around to it. They get these nice prompts to pay. Nice or nasty, it's up to you, however you feel about it. So faster debt collection. Because you've got the apps there, it means that your bookkeeping is faster because you're not sitting there typing things in. It's all just there automatically. I love technology. And it's not prone to human errors in typing. So we can do that. You do get to check and just okay the suggested coding, but it learns from that. Machine learning is fabulous. So if it suggests that, this is travel, and you go, no, that's actually entertaining. So next time it will know it's entertaining and suggest entertaining. So it's a quicker, faster process. It learns from you. Self-learning stuff is brilliant. I wish people learned as quickly, especially my kids. Because you've got this shared access between the business, the bookkeeper, the accountant, it's easier to have contact with your accountant and to get sensible answers as well, because they can see the up-to-date information. It also allows us to genuinely become more proactive because we can see more things. Okay, that probably doesn't come with your basic accountancy fee, but if you sign up for a proactive service, then your accountant actually can be proactive because they can see everything there. You've got better management information. And I know the small businesses you used to manage from an order book and a bank balance, but this is even better still. You can see where your money's going. You can see which clients, which products are profitable and which ones aren't, where you need to increase your prices or go and renegotiate costs and things like that. Your year end can be done a lot faster because everything's up to date. Whether that matters to you or not, I don't know. It certainly does if you're applying for a mortgage or some sort of finance, have everything up to date. And it becomes the business hub. It's there, and then you can tag on glorious management reporting things. You can put on staff scheduling software and all sorts of other bits really easily. And of course, it's MTD ready. So there's been a bit of a delay from HMRC getting the specifications out to software companies, but it's there. They are all there now, or most of them are. And Zoho, obviously, that's why they're running this webinar for you. And real-time data makes it easier for accountants to give clients the proactive advice they want. We really want to help our clients to run a better business. And I'm not the only accountant who wants that. The downside, there's a cost, which for most software companies starts at 2 Costa coffees per month. But you'll hear about the software, the opening offering from Zoho after I've finished going through MTD more generally. Whatever you're paying for your software is tax deductible. The other downside, of course, is garbage in, garbage out. If you're putting in nonsense, you will get nonsense out. So you need to pay attention to what you're doing. So if your software suggests that you should code it as something like this and you go, okay, I'm not looking, I'm just going okay, you will get that nonsense out. You do have to at least be a little bit alert, which is why I say do it over a cup of tea rather than a glass of wine, especially if you're a lightweight like me. You will need training and support. But hey, most software companies provide that. So you need to make the decision between spreadsheet and bridging software or proper accounting software, which is so much cheaper these days. I like the software option because of all the other benefits as well, which more than make up for the tiny little cost. You then need to be looking at deadlines. And this is why I talk about spending 5 minutes a day, just keeping on top of your bookkeeping. 5 minutes a day, it's not a huge chore. It's the time it takes for your coffee to cool down. You've got 5 submissions now, not just once per year. So we have 4 quarterly submissions, and then you have the year-end one, which is where you make any adjustments and add on all the other bits that are in your tax return, usually. Your tax return needs to be filed in the normal way. The big thing to look out for in the first year is that you have 2 sets of deadlines. So our clients who go live in April 2026 and us as accountants have to manage double deadlines, a double workload. Thank you very much, HMRC. We'll get through it. We always do. So we will be working with clients to finish their 2026 tax returns under the old regime and do their quarterly submissions for 2027 under the new regime, because we didn't have enough work to do already. And this is why I say start now, get into the habit of it now, so that you're not trying to learn stuff as well. You'll be more confident and know what you're doing. And the same applies whichever year you go live. If you're VAT registered, you have those quarterly deadlines as well. So yes, you've got that 31st of January deadline. So you've got 7th of August, 7th of November, 31st of January, and the 7th of February. It's going to be a busy 10 months. So we're looking forward to that. We will be collapsing and having a break after that. So we usually say don't try and contact your accountants in December, January, because they are busy with tax returns. I think we're just going to be so busy next year. It'll be after the 7th of February, we'll be either having a nervous breakdown or chilling in that spa, whichever. But well done to you for getting through double deadline year. So get the deadlines in your diary, know what you're working to, practice, 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 and please start now. So you don't have to then add your own time learning to use the software, learning how to do bookkeeping, whatever. Just change on top of double deadlines is going to be just too difficult. So get everything up to date. That means that your 2026 tax return will be smoother than usual, and then you'll be able to focus on going forwards the next ones. So what do you need to do now? So you need to decide who's going to do what. So that might be the business owner, the bookkeeper, the accountant, all have roles. Sometimes it will be the business owner who's the bookkeeper. Sometimes it's the accountant who's also the bookkeeper. I'm going to discuss them as 3 separate roles, but you work out which ones are shared. So decide who's going to do what. You need to choose your software. I've said get ahead because that will make year 1 so much simpler. And get ahead by practicing your quarterly deadline, so your 5 minutes a day bookkeeping. If you don't already have a separate business bank account, get that set up as well, so that you can keep everything separate. It's a lot easier. And don't forget, you have to sign up either for the trial or for the mandatory period. So you choose when you start, but you do have to sign up and get your new logins and things like that. So it's just something else. The sooner you do it, it takes away that hassle from that busy double deadline year. So who can do what? Well, we've split our clients into small, simple businesses. So it's fairly easy to manage. There's no seasonality to think about. So they're not selling ice cream, which has got a huge peak in the summer, about 1 month in the UK where we get some sunshine, or the umbrella salesman who works all year round. And it's not farmers, artists, whatever, that have good years and bad years. So they're small and simple. And then we have the complex businesses. Either the business itself is complex or there's seasonality, things like that, which means it's not quite as straightforward on the bookkeeping front. Potentially not on the tax front either, but definitely not on the bookkeeping front. And then we've looked at the quality of the bookkeeping. So for those who have poor bookkeeping or no bookkeeping now, and I get it, you're good at what you do. I couldn't plaster a wall for the life of me. I can't draw a straight line. And I've got a dripping tap at the moment. It's been dripping since I moved in here a year ago. So I need to figure out whether to do that myself or call in a plumber and just bite the bullet and pay the bill. So we've got people who don't want to do their own bookkeeping at the moment now need to think, what will they do? So if it's a simple business, you can pay for the software and the training and do it. Or just hand it over to a bookkeeper, save the hassle. They will do it cheaper, faster, better than you would. And then you can get the accountant to do the year end as usual. If it's a complex business and you're not really into the bookkeeping, I say just get the bookkeeper to do that anyway. Save yourself the hassle. If your bookkeeping's okay, then you're probably near enough there and you just need to look at the year-end adjustments, which I would say for your accountant. If you've got a complex business, then get your accountant, get your bookkeeper to do the in-year stuff, and then your accountant could do the year-end. If you've got a professional bookkeeper, and I love professional bookkeepers, they make my life so much easier. I'm an accountant, I can do my bookkeeping myself, but the professionals do it better. Then everything's already done. There's just the year-end adjustments to consider. And depending on the experience and qualification of your bookkeeper, they may be able to do that for you or hand over to the accountant as usual. So with a professional bookkeeper, not too much has changed. They will pick up the extra work and charge for it. Of course, they need to make a living, but you don't need to worry about it. And with a complex business, as I say, you definitely need a bookkeeper who will work together with your accountant. So figure out where you fit in there, you and your business, and how much you enjoy bookkeeping. Yes. If you don't enjoy it, just bite the bullet, pay the bookkeeper. They'll do in a couple of hours what would take you all day, and you can be off earning more money to pay for it, doing something that you love and that you're good at. So benefits for the business owner of using software. Data entry is a lot of it you do at the time. You've got knowledge of the business, which means that the numbers make sense. You can liaise with your accountant through your software, but it's yet another unprofitable admin task that's just a drag on your time. You might be able to do the quarterly adjustments yourself. If there aren't any required, you might do the year-end accounts, and you might be able to handle a simple tax return. With a bookkeeper, data entry, they are faster and better than you. They're even faster and better than me. They know the apps inside out. They know bookkeeping. It's what they do. Just thinking I'm going to have to Google how to change a washer in my tap, or I can call that plumber. I think I'm coming to the conclusion now on what I should be doing. They're familiar with HMRC, used to liaising with the accountant. They can do the quarterly adjustments for you, perhaps. They might even do the year end and the simple tax returns. The benefits of an accountant doing it. Well, we employ bookkeepers. Yes, we've got knowledge of apps. We've got knowledge of bookkeeping. We also have knowledge of tax. We can do the quarterly adjustments. So the higher end of the stuff. We can definitely do your year-end accounts. We can handle all your tax returns. We can also do tax planning and business advice. So you get so much more. Now, the reality is you'll split the work between the business owner, the bookkeeper, the accountant. So it's finding the sweet spot for you. At the moment, this came from an HMRC report in August. Nearly half of businesses going into MTD aren't represented by tax agents, whether that's a qualified accountant or somebody else. And I think, do you remember the campaign, tax doesn't need to be taxing? Well, it is taxing. So treat yourself, get some professional representation if you're not comfortable with it. You will need to pay for it. And what you pay, you get what you pay for in terms of knowledge, experience, proactive advice, and accessibility as well. When you've done all that, you've understood, hopefully now, what needs to be done. We've got some questions that I'll look at now. You need to choose your software, get the deadlines in your diary, start now, whether you're officially signed up or not, start practicing now to make the most of that double deadline year so that you're ready to go live. So I will stop sharing my screen. It's just reminded you who I am. And let's have a little look at these questions. So if you are subletting, you are a landlord. Yes. So you have rental income. You're a landlord. As far as tax is concerned, you should already be declaring that on a tax return. And you may need to go into MTD if you're above that 20,000 income per year. Owner and sole employer of a limited company as opposed to a sole trader. Now, MTD only applies to self-employed, as in sole traders and landlords. It's not to do with companies at all.
Della, should I project the questions just in case so that it benefits the other folks also?
Yes, please. Yep, if you've got the facility, that would be great. Then people can see.
Yes, I'm just trying this out in the app. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Excellent.
So you just answered, I think, but yeah.
So, yep, that's, oh, I do. Oh, that gives me a written answer.
Okay.
I'm just going to send you a blank thing because I'm going to talk through the answer, and this is being recorded. Oh,
Sure.
You can have a full stop.
Okay, so
we've done
start. Shall I start now? I'm just going to project one question.
that. Okay.
How
So
does
that
it?
subletting question?
Yes.
Yep. So
think-
yes, you are a landlord for tax purposes.
Perfect. So now we will go on to the next question. What's a solution where a subcontractor keeps records on a spreadsheet and doesn't want to use other software?
Well, I think we've already discussed the bridging software, and you'll learn more about that from the second half of the talk on the Zoho software. So you can do that. I would also see, is there an argument for them being on software? Can they raise their invoices faster, better? By the time they've done the CIS deduction, they've done the reverse charge VAT, software can handle that for them and save them a lot of hassle. So I would still look at the benefits of software, but you do have the spreadsheet and bridging software option as well.
I think people just want to continue using spreadsheet because they're very familiar with it, right? So
I know. It's that old pair of slippers. They will fall apart at some point, though.
Yeah. But yeah, there are options for people who may want to continue using the spreadsheet because there are bridging software available, but obviously there are benefits to using a software. All right. Next, we move on to the next question. I love my spreadsheet. It makes super clear what's happening across all my accounts. Xero isn't as clear to me. Is there a way I can carry on using my spreadsheets as technically they are digital?
So I think I've answered that, but I would also say Xero has Sift attached to it. You can, I know it's not just Xero, it's whatever software. You can create bespoke reports in it for the most part. So get the reports that are actually useful to you. Don't retype stuff into a spreadsheet. Why are we retyping stuff manually? Because that's where you make mistakes. And we've seen huge losses in large organizations where people were using spreadsheets. If it happens in big organizations, it can happen in yours as well. So I love Excel. And before that, it was Lotus 123. And before that, it was VisiCalc. I've used them all. I love my spreadsheets. And there is a place for them for one-off things. But for repetitive things, let's just get the software to do it for us. You're not going to try and lift something when there's a crane next to you. We no longer get men, horses, whatever, to lift things. We have mechanical cranes. Let's do the same with our software. Otherwise, we'd still be sitting there with our quill pens doing things. So look at Xero, look at the software, and create your custom reports that do exactly what you want. The software is a tool. It should be working for you, making you work more efficiently.
And if you're worried about the cost, you have the free plans of Zoho Books that you can try out as well, much simpler. So cost shouldn't be at least a barrier for you to consider software.
Yeah, exactly. Does gross income include private pension? No, that is on your pensions page. So go back, look at those, the 3 pages I talked about on your tax return. It's your self-employment, it's your rental income, and it's the foreign page that's got self-employment and rental income. Your private pension goes on to your year-end tax return. It's not part of MTD. So breathe a sigh of relief on that one.
Next up, does HMRC offer a simple phone and chat service just to talk through what you're doing?
If you're on the beta trial, yes, this is the advantage. You actually get the service that we all want from HMRC. I'm sounding really old, aren't I? Back in the days where they had local offices and you could just walk in and talk to a tax person. That's the sort of thing that you get if you're on the trial. Not a physical office, but you can talk things through. And they are actually about you getting it right. So initially, they're going to be focusing on compliance in terms of getting the submissions in on time. So as long as you're not submitting absolute nonsense, just meet the deadlines. At some point, they will start to look at the quality of the data you're submitting. And of course, they will look at that year end. So what we're tending to do is getting clients to do their quarterly submissions themselves, their bookkeeping, their quarterly submissions. We're doing, we've got bookkeeping sessions. So once a month, we're going to have a Q&A session with clients online and help them with their bookkeeping once a month. But once they get used to it, they won't need that so much. So we'll do that for our clients, but if you don't have an accountant, you can talk to HMRC and they will help you along. So, yep, sign up for the beta and you will get better service from HMRC on that special helpline.
This is an interesting question. To what extent will MTD increase accountancy fees, making it more expensive to be a sole trader?
I'm going to give the classic accountant's answer. It depends. I've talked about all the way we're doing it. So for us, and I can't speak for other accountants, of course, we are spending time and money training clients. We are spending time and money helping them choose the right software. So there will be a cost. but they're then going to be doing their own bookkeeping, and they're going to be doing their own quarterly submissions for the most part. So that will be minimal extra cost. And the year end will be the year end, just as it's always been. So we'll sweep up and sort out at the year end. Where we're taking on board the bookkeeping and so on, obviously there's a bigger cost. So it depends what you need your accountant to do. We are trying to keep our fees to a minimum, as always. But what we're really trying to do is to offer value to make sure that our clients, where possible, are in a position to look after themselves better, so they don't have to keep paying us for it. Yes, I want to make money, but I don't want to provide unnecessary services where clients can do it themselves. So fees will go up because our work's gone up. But yeah, hopefully our clients still consider us good value for what they get.
It really depends also, right? So if you're choosing an accountancy firm that also does bookkeeping, perhaps the fees will go really high. So maybe you can look for a bookkeeper who may manage the bookkeeping for you, and it's just at the end, the tax portion can be handled by the accounting firm, perhaps. But yeah, it's going to be on the rise. Yeah.
And a lot of bookkeepers also do the year-end tax returns for simple businesses as well. So you won't get the tax advice that you get from an accountant. But if it's a simple business, then you maybe don't need complex tax advice. If you've only got a low income, there's minimal capacity for tax savings. So
really depends on the business.
Yeah. So depends on the service that you want and need.
Got it. Next question. Is signing up just for the beta, or do you have to do anyway? Or do you have to just do it anyway? If they've sent you a letter saying to start MTD from 2026?
You need to sign up and choose your date, whether it's for the beta or for the compulsory, the mandatory date, because you need to log in through a separate system. That was a nice straightforward one. No, it depends there. That's a quite clear answer.
All right, the next one's quite a bit long. Further to my question, as a director employee of a limited company and I'm the sole employee, I still have to submit tax returns based on dividends I receive. So do I have to now keep digital records of my income and do quarterly tax returns a bit like a sole trader?
Going back to what MTD is about your sole trade income and your landlord income. It's not about your dividends.
All right, the answer was quite short.
Yes. I think the answer will be shorter than the question.
Right.
We're looking at sole trade, we're looking at landlord income. Nothing else is changed by MTD.
Right. I think the answer to this question also will be similar. There are two parts to it. I'm a sole trader, but also have irregular hours with an employer who pays me using the payee scheme, which I know is included in the annual tax return. Does that income need to be included in the quarterly updates?
Yeah, so it's the same answer. Your quarterly updates are your self-employed and your landlord income. The PAYE just comes in that year-end adjustment period.
Got it. And the second part, I think, is for us. Does Zoho have a way of tracking the pay income alongside my sole trader income? We don't have a field right now where you can add it, but I think you can definitely pass it off as a manual journal and then track those for your end of year filing as well. All right. Okay, let me have this question up. If under the VAT threshold, how important is it to correctly categorize expenses? Can they all just be categorized as other to save time?
I had a client, they came in really proud. They go, I've cracked this bookkeeping. I just put everything to other. And it was, oh. So as far as your quarterly submissions are concerned, you could do that. But then you get to the year end and you've got to pull it all out of other and put it in the right place. Get it right first time. We don't have a statutory chart of accounts in the UK. You just need to choose the most appropriate category. It's suggested by the software, and that information will help you run your business. So I want to know how much time I'm spending on travel time. I know. I track how much time I spend on traveling. I also track how much money I'm spending on traveling. And I even split mine 2 ways. So if I travel to give a talk, which is a money generating thing, I want to know, because that's part of the margin on that. And if it's just traveling around for other bits and pieces, then I need to track that separately. So you get to choose how you categorize it. But for your year-end return, you have to have it separated out into something sensible. So just get it right first time. The other thing, actually, I always say to my clients is, other general expenses, sundry expenses, it's a red flag to HMRC. It suggests you don't have a clue what you're doing. They will come in, they will go through it like a dose of salts. So just make it easy on yourself and just get it right first time.
And if it's the same kind of expenses, I believe then you just have to kind of create a rule for them, and then the software will automatically create it for you, right? So you don't have to manually key in the category every time.
Yeah, so you only have to get it right once, and then it's all done for you. Yeah. That's technology, and that's why MTD is actually able to work now, because the technology is there to do the heavy lifting. We've got that crane. We don't have to be struggling to get things done.
I have another one. I travel regularly for work and I'm often away for long periods, though can never say when. What happens if I'm away when one of the quarterly submissions is due? You've scared them with that deadline slide.
Yep. Well, actually, I'm the same. I travel a lot for business and but we were just talking about last week, I was in London and Madrid. And the beauty of software, cloud-based software, is I can work from anywhere in the world with an internet connection, or even off my hotspot where there's not an internet connection. So you just do it from wherever you are. And if you're doing that 5 minutes a day, it's not a lot extra to do. You get to the end of the month, pull it up, make sure it makes sense, and press the button. So
what if I miss, let's say, what if I miss Q2 submission? I can still carry that forward in my Q3, right? Or do I get a penalty point for not having submitted?
You will get your penalty points for not submitting.
Okay.
So submit something, preferably something reasonably sensible. Make that deadline. It's the same as when you miss VAT. I was working away, doesn't cut it with HMRC. You've got a month and a week to get it done. And if you're doing it 5 minutes a day, it shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes, half an hour to review it and make sure it makes sense at the end of that quarter. If you can't find that, then your business needs to be able to accommodate that. So digital nomad, whatever you are, is no excuse. You will get that penalty point. If you think you've got a genuine excuse that was existing throughout the entire period, so for the whole of that month and 1 week, you can try appealing it. But most things don't last that long. And cloud-based software, you log in from anywhere in the world. Yes, geography is no boundary anymore.
Got it. I'll take this last question. Can you please explain a bit more on signing up for practice and then go live? Example, can you practice next fiscal year, submit self-assessment as I have been, and then in the following year, submit using the software?
So when you sign up, you are supposed to, it's a beta. It's supposed to run as if it's the live thing. The benefit is if you get it wrong, then you won't face penalties because it's voluntary. If you get it wrong or you're late in your beta period, then you don't face penalties. The other benefit is you get the extra support from HMRC. So that's the 2 official bits. The third one is that you make all your mistakes in the trial period. It's a bit like being a child when you're trying to do things for yourself and your parents are there to help pick up the pieces. So somebody will be there to help you. You have to pick up the phone and get the help. You don't have to go out into the big wide world and do it all on your own with minimal support because you can't get through on the HMRC helpline, which is why I recommend people going sooner rather than later. So if you're going for the official thing, you get all that official support. If you just do a dummy run on your own, just practicing meeting this arbitrary deadline, that's good as well, but you don't have access to the HMRC support. So I would say either do a dummy run on your own or do it with HMRC there to support you.
I've got 2 more questions. Maybe we can take it very quickly.
Yes, as long as you've got the time, I'm okay.
If I have a sole trade company overseas, do I need to report as a sole trade in the UK and fill an MTD?
Yep. So back to those 3 pages we're looking at. It's the sole trade, it's the landlord income, it's the foreign income page that's got sole trade or foreign overseas landlord. So yes, that falls into MTD.
Got it. And the last one. Submission is once a quarter, but are payments required quarterly too?
No. That's a nice quick answer. No. The payments aren't changing. To be honest, if HMRC wanted to, or the government wanted to change those payments, they could change the payments to quarterly instead of biannual without all the hassle of MTD. This is not about changing the payment periods. It's about the information and, as they believe, closing tax gap and getting better information faster, and also increasing business productivity by giving you that better information. Yeah, I know we've got the hassle and the time spent doing it, but it should be worth it in the end. Large corporations have been doing it for years, and they have the advantage of good information and proper systems. That's now affordable for small businesses. So we get to compete with the big boys. It's like all of a sudden going from League 2 into the Premier League. We can compete with them, and they can stack up all the corporate stuff, but we've still got the agility of being smaller and friendlier and things like that. So it starts to level the playing field between us and the large corporations. So you can bring in your personal service and things like that they just cannot offer. So take advantage, use the systems. You have to do it anyway, so let's make sure we're really using them, embracing them, and just go the whole way. And Zoho are so lovely and friendly, as you can see. They are a dream to work with. I enjoy working with them. I work with lots of software companies, and I like Zoho.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And we had a lot of questions on Zoho and Zoho Books' capability about managing MTD ITSA. So we'll be doing a follow-up webinar on this, and we'll walk you through how exactly you can use Zoho Books to manage your income tax self-assessments. But we've also shared a small note in our chat. It'll include links to a few of our YouTube videos, help document, our support ID. Do get in touch with us if you're still on the fence to use the software or not to use the software. We can help you with that. And of course, Della is very active on LinkedIn, so do get in touch with her if you have questions. And I'm sure if she's allowing folks to join her bookkeeping class, please do join that as well. I think it'll really help.
Yeah, we definitely want to try and help as many business owners as we can, and we try to offer the one-to-many solutions to keep the prices down.
Perfect. On that note, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope we've made things a little bit more clear on MTD itself. We'll continue doing this as we near the deadline of April. Thank you once again so much, Della, for joining us. Really love having you always with us for these sessions and roadshows. Thanks, everyone. See you again later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.